In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to create a flat felled seam. Here I have this finished sample of a flat felled seam. As you can see, it is a flat seam. It encloses the raw edges inside the seam, and you can see that the edges are enclosed inside that seam. So here I have a pair of denim jeans. As you can see here in the center back crotch seam of these denim jeans, we have a flat felt seam, and also at the top yoke area of these jeans is a flat felt seam. The reason that they are in those areas is because it's a high stress area that requires a nice, strong, sturdy seam. Here I have a jacket that has flat felt seams, but as you can see, this one here around the pocket isn't actually a flat felt seam. If I look at the back, it's not flat. You see raw edges exposed. So make sure when you're looking at a garment in the store, is it actually a flat felt seam or not? So make sure you look closely to determine if it's actually a flat felt seam or not. And it'll really teach you a lot about the quality of the garment and the detail that went into creating it. All right, now let's go to the machine and create a sample of a flat felled seam. So you're going to need 2 pieces of fabric. Here I'm using a lightweight denim to demonstrate this. And you're going to take them and you're facing the wrong sides together. Again, face the wrong sides together. And then I'm going to stitch a plain seam at a 5/8 of a seam allowance. Here's my 5/8. And make sure you back stitch at the beginning and at the end. There we have our plain seam. Now I'm going to go to my iron and I'm going to press this to one side and expose one side of the seam to prepare it for trimming. So I've pressed one side of the seam out of the way and the other side of the garment so that I can easily trim this down to 1/8 of an inch. So as close as you can to the stitching line. Now, after I've trimmed it, what I need to do is I need to turn under the longer seam here about 1/4 of an inch and then over the trimmed edge or the bottom edge of the seam like this. I'm going to go ahead and press this so it's easier for me to stitch it at the machine. So now I'm pressing it towards the side where I trimmed to make sure that the trimmed edge is underneath the longer edge. And then I'm going to turn this under and over the trimmed edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it. Okay, now back at the machine, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this right along that folded edge as close as I can. And I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And again, I've shown this in other videos. I use the presser foot of my machine to line up these edges. So I'm lining up the folded edge with the inside of the presser foot here. That way I get it pretty close to that edge. And again, I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and back stitch at the end. And make sure you tuck that seam over and around and just go slowly. And that is the flat felled seam. Now I can go back to my iron and press this nice and flat. And again, you can see both sides are flat. It's a nice clean finish. It's nice and sturdy. And you can see the raw edge is encased inside this folded seam. We've got a beautiful seam finish here, and that is the flat felled seam. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please don't hesitate to hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any suggestions for future content, I love to hear those, so please leave me a comment, and I hope to see you in the next video.